With that said, my name is Hector Negron. I'm the founder and chief transformation officer for Optimus Business Transformation. I like to, and those of you who've seen this before, bear with me. It's just 2 minute video, but it helps set the tone for artificial intelligence and the rest of the presentation. So how we in Optimus first view the market, we view it as nations, geographies, but we also have digital nations. I will park that for a second. We've also seen, by the way, all of this is data from different analysts. It also comes from press releases, articles, etc. So our team has done a great job of recompiling a lot of this data for all of us. So the first concept out of the data, right? Without data, all we have is an opinion. That we're setting the tone here is number one is took the telephone over 100 years. 75 years to reach 100 million people. It took ChatGPT 2 months to reach that. And by the way, it was a limited launch. More people wanted to join than the availability from OpenAI ChatGPT. The other concept here is digital nations. We now know that India is the most populous country in the world, followed by China. Analysts are coming out with data that China may have even less people than what they last reported. But we're not going to focus on China and Asia and the US and Europe's population. We're going to focus on digital nations. So digital nations is X, which used to be called Twitter, and I don't know for how long much more I have to say that. But anyway, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. Within that, we also know that Google, Alphabet, parent company, owns a couple of these sites, services, nations. Facebook owns a couple more. These nations individually or together are the most populous in the world. So we have communities that communicate, that express ideas, affect elections. Now that we're coming to elections, affect opinions, etc. That's a community. And a lot of people in these digital nations and these communities tend or are more active there than their neighborhood. So point here is the adoption of technology is moving fast. We belong to digital nations. Digital nations are allowing for this. There's no turning back. I also want to add something on that helps explain why AI in many countries is exceedingly important and it's here to stay. So we have some of the most important economies in the world. I think they are all top 10. I don't know if top 5, uh, but at least top 10 are here: Japan, Germany, China, and the US. These, in a nutshell, what this is telling us is a lot of the important, influential top 10 populations around the world, Germany, Japan, and China, their demographics are not that good, aging demographics. So, not many new workers in the labor force. And that's causing certain labor shortages. In the US, it's not as bad. The more it looks like a pyramid, the better. Uh, but, the US is also showing labor shortages, and there's a 10-year gap right now between the cost by the X generation being small, millennials being the next biggest generation after boomers, and they've inherited all the global wealth. So, the bottom line is uh, there's a strain on, there's less supply of workers than what we've seen in the last 40, 50 years. And this is very important for AI. And we'll dig deeper into it when we give you real life examples. What we're seeing here is really inflation, right? What we're seeing, the trend after 2020, COVID, is it's going up. It's continuing to going up. It's been quote unquote tamed, but most economic consensus for the US, which affects the Caribbean and a lot of the markets around the world, is the US is going to come back to 5, 15. The biggest pessimists are 15%. I'm not in that group. But the US is definitely going to be around and upwards 5% inflation, but it's going to be healthy inflation because we're going to have job markets that are tight. Everybody's going to be employed. And a big part of it is not because the economy is great, although the US economy is looking better, right? And that again affects the Caribbean and the rest, but it's supply and demand. Not enough workers in the labor force. So we saw this a little bit earlier. I do want to recap this. Harvard Business School came out and said AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans without AI. And I like to add the word business to it. So humans that use AI in business will replace humans who don't use AI. And the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, and his one of his last shareholders meetings he had a month ago or some weeks ago, came out and said that artificial intelligence could be as transformational as the printing press, steam engine, boats, electricity, computing, and the internet, among others. And we're already starting to see a lot of that. Something I want to add to the equation here is technology is almost like dog years, right? 3 years in technology, I like to compare it to a Toyota Corolla. It's like comparing a 2025 Toyota Corolla, and you're right, to a 2010 one. Both are good, right? So technology can last. It can be definitely be good for you, can move you from point A to B, but definitely how technology is moving, it's moving almost in dog years. So setting the preview of all of this, uh, and using that example of the Toyota Corolla. In 2010, there was no Chat GPT, there was no Tesla. Just think about it, Chat GPT, Copilot, and all this AI. We're probably taking a look at it, really buzzing, the adoption rate really coming to new heights in around a 2-year time frame. So again, we're talking technology in dog years. Uh, this is a perfect example. We will have additional workshops. We'll show this at the end, so I'll jump through this for different industries. The introduction is going to be very similar, except I'll be talking some trends now, but the use cases are going to be different. So each industry have a different use case. So I'm going to jump the videos here because I've been eating up the time. I did want to share this quick one with you. It was in the initial video. This is a Miami airport about a month and a half ago. This is me taking this video. Uh, so now we have humanless wheelchairs pushing passengers from point A to point B. So this is how quickly all of this is moving. So 2024 retail trends. I'm going to focus a little bit more in the US and in the Caribbean. Uh, Obviously, there's a big AI technology spending and adoption. Some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. We will give examples of this, Jorge will in a second. Uh, Something that's happening is not only store layouts in the US, but this is the first year in a very long time where, and this comes from NRF, National Retail Federation, that there's going to be more stores than the previous year. So store counts are going up. Something that's happening is also at the same time, average store size is coming down. So the era of the uh, Macy's and Sears and J.C. Penney dominating retail is all but over. The survivors will still be large, will still be influencers, but they will not be dominators. So store layout, optimization, size, counts, that's swiftly changing. Also, the personalized shopping experience, I'd like to add the also autonomous to that. Uh, so it's personalized shopping and autonomous. We're seeing more and more self-checkout. We're seeing clothing stores like Zara and Uniqlo using self-checkouts with RFID. So it's not only grocery or consumer packaged goods. We just saw how Walmart is testing in a couple hundred stores a arch, not with RFID, but an arch in the exit where there's cameras that are filming, taking pictures of the shopper and the cart. So as you're pulling out the cart, you go under these arches, and basically AI is seeing what you have in your cart and what was in your ticket. So it's doing an additional check to reduce shoplifting. So as a loss prevention mechanism. And very important is supply chain. So we are going to be dealing with inflation. There's a big, let's say, resetting of global supply chains. A lot of things from that would source raw materials from Russia are being sourced elsewhere, which then possibly makes some components to be manufactured cheaper somewhere else. China's labor is now twice as expensive as Mexico's labor, and Mexico's labor force, at least, most U.S. analysts consider it that has a higher skill set. So it's cheaper now to manufacture a lot of things in Mexico than it is China. Uh, you know, this wasn't the case 5, 10 years ago in a lot of industries. So, where we're sourcing, how we're sourcing it, the speed that we're sourcing it is not gonna go away, right? We lived through that with COVID. It's not as dramatic as now, but it is very important. These are studies by independent, let's say, universities and consulting firms and wealth management firms. 25% of the entire labor market could be automated in the next few years. Goldman Sachs. Few could be three, could be 10, right? So, personally, I give that more 5 to 10 period, more towards seven. All 50% of all work will be AI driven by 2055. This is more for the US that this refers to. Uh, you know, I I understand that this is very, very possible. And 80% of jobs could be impacted by, ChatGPT, and Copilot uses ChatGPT. I'm going to take out the word ChatGPT from here. Copilot, but the amount of CEOs and business leaders I meet with, and they're saying, no, I have a ChatGPT and Copilot license and I'm using it and I'm trying to figure out how to deploy it to the rest of the company. I can tell you now is almost weekly. And, I'm not being dramatic. So, what's impressed me in this new wave of technology is how, current leadership is embracing these technologies. Then I jump this video. I'm going to go to here. This is actually the son of a friend, a customer of ours in the Caribbean. They're, I think, at the Tampa airport, and they just did some shopping. Look at the cameras at the top. No cashier. When they came in, they had to tap their credit card. They walked out, they just got charged. So even a kid can shop cashierless. Uh, Amazon has has been closing down their cashierless stores. I personally not a fan of it. I understand it's right now we're not ready for it. I don't know if we will all ever be ready for cashierless stores. There's other modes for autonomous checkout, but if you're in an airport, there's airport security, et cetera, et cetera. Shoplifting is a little bit harder, and there's cameras everywhere. And if you're caught shoplifting by one of these cameras, by the time you land in the next place, the police will be waiting for you there, right? So, uh, self checkout, self order, that's what we're seeing. So, this is just taking a self order of a coffee. What I like about it is, let's say you're a grocer and you have a coffee shop or you have a deli. This can help with the line busting, right? When you have breakfast in the morning, those big lines, people can just come in, choose swipe, and that time that that person is taking the order and swiping, not all customers are going to do it. Some of them will. That's going to go back into the prepping of the food. So I want to go a little bit more in depth with now with the solution we're using Microsoft and Copilot. Again, Microsoft has invested over $27 billion in the last 5, 6 years, including a 10 billion plus investment in OpenAI, ChatGPT. A lot of those technologies have now been licensed, used in Copilot. They are different. They're very similar too. I like to refer as ChatGPT outside of your four walls. So more where Google lives, and Copilot more inside of your business's four walls. So it's looking at, your all the repositories of information, and yeah, you can have some prompts that can go out and you can bring out outside data. So on a high level, that's how I visualize it. Microsoft 365 quick review is really Office 365. You know this: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, uh, plus Teams, plus security. So it's an umbrella. So Copilot is ready for Microsoft 365 Power Platform, Power BI, and Dynamics, and will provide use cases. So, with that said, this is not Walmart, this is WalSmart that we're using as an example, like it because it's a CPG, regular retailer, and they also have a grocery department. With that said, I'll pass it over to Jorge. Jorge?
Good morning, everyone. For today, we are going to be reviewing four scenarios. The idea is that I'm going to be showing you the scenarios and I'm going to be showing you how to use it directly in the platform with Copilot. I'm going to share my screen now. Let me share not this one. I'm going to share
Yes,
the
Jorge.
original one. Yeah. So the first scenario that we are going to be reviewing today is going to be Thomas. Thomas Thomas is going to be a person that is going to analyze the sales of their store and is going to review how to boost some categories or some specific product. So we are going to be doing that using Copilot now. So for this scenario, I just download or I just generate this Excel file with a group of products, categories, unit price, sold units, and the date that was the sold, and additionally the store that is responsible of this specific sale. So the idea is that I'm going to be interacting in Excel with Copilot to generate additional information based on this data. So the first thing that I need to do, and just to keep in mind, is that the file should be stored in a OneDrive path. If you have the file in your desktop, or if you have the file in just any folder, it's not going to work. Should be in OneDrive because it's going to be processed directly with Copilot. So after have the file in the OneDrive path, we're going to be using this Copilot icon. And the idea is that I'm going to be showing you some specific prompts that could help you with the interaction. For example, I'm just to start with something simple. Uh, uh, Sorry, give me a second. Okay, so for example here, I'm going to ask Copilot just to bold the first column. It's a functionality that of course you could do just selecting the first column and just use the traditional icon. But it's just to showing you that just simple instructions that you could just directly interacting with Copilot. So for example, in this scenario, I just wrote bold the first column and Copilot is going to be doing that automatically. Uh, but just and I'm trying to interact with the information and generate additional information, of course. You could use this prompt that is visualize this data. Copilot is going to analyze the information that you already have in the file and is going to suggest you a couple of charts or an analysis that is going to help you to understand a little bit more the information and it's going to generate additional information based on the information that you already have. So for example, in this case, I just asked for visualizing information. It's going to generate a first chart. But if I want to see all the possible alternatives or all the insights that Copilot could help me to generate, I just need to write add all the insights to the grid. And Copilot is going to include a group of charts with all the analysis that Copilot is doing directly over the information that you already have there. So, for example, in this case, it's analyzing the product, it's analyzing the categories, it's analyzing the date, it's generating a couple of different charts that could help you with your analysis. And additionally, it's going to generate a group of pivot tables that, of course, you could interact with, and you could modify and generate your own information. The idea with this scenario is showing you that just with a couple of clicks or a couple of prompts, you could generate additional information based on the information that you already have there. Let's go back to the data and use another front that I consider that is useful as well. Is going to be suggest a column. Maybe you have a couple of columns that you already know, but you could ask Copilot to suggest an additional column. And the functionality basically is going to analyze your information and is going to suggest a column. Actually, it's going to show you here the column that is suggesting, and it's going to show you the formula that is using to calculate that column. And if you want to continue with this specific column, you just need to click on insert a column, and that's it. Copilot is going to include the column directly in the sheet, and it's an additional information that you can start using for your analysis. There is an additional prompt that is going to be analyzed. Analyze is going to validate or is going to review the information that you already have in your data, and it's going to start suggesting some specific questions or specific instructions that probably you want to review. Like, for example, if you want to review the percentage of distribution of a specific category or which is the store with a specific product. So you could start asking for additional information based on the prompts that Copilot is generating here. So this is a functionality that is going to be really interesting. Of course, I'm just using an Excel file with 5 columns, but if you have a couple of additional information, of course, it's going to generate a really good information for you. So that's the first scenario that is going to be using Excel. Now I'm going to pass to John. John is a marketing analyst that want to generate additional information or want to use AI to interact and to make his work easier. So in this scenario, I'm not going to show you Copilot directly. I'm going to show you an additional platform that I consider that is really useful. Um, Let me go directly to the platform. I'm going to showing you Typeface. Typeface is a functionality oriented or based on marketing areas. So for example, here I'm going to click on home and I'm going to open a project that I just created for this. You could create a project based on, actually, let's create a project now. So you could just click here on projects, click on new project. And let's say that I'm going to just test. Actually, it's not going to work with test. Okay. So this functionality or this platform is going to help you to generate marketing pieces or marketing elements. Could be an email, could be an Instagram post, could be a Facebook ad, could be a web blog. I mean, all or not all, but the general functionalities or the general elements that you could require in a marketing department could be generated directly with this functionality. Let's do the scenario with the Instagram post. That probably is going to be the common one. So for example, here, the functionality is going to ask you what is your goal. Let's say that I want to promote organic products. So for example, here I'm going to promote organic products. And I want to suggest or I want to request here for a specific image. Let's say that I want to an organic product display shelf in a supermarket. So I'm going to generate the image. Well, I'm not going to generate it. The platform is going to generate. But the good thing here is that this platform generate a really high quality of images. Additionally, it's going to generate, for example, the hashtags that you could use in your Instagram publication. And additionally, if you want to generate a more complex, if you don't like this image, you could just request for an additional one. And additionally, if you want to generate a specific test to complement the image, for example, here, You could generate text, and right here, what do you want to generate? And typeface is going to generate that. So the time that you are going to save generating images, generating just campaigns, content, or other elements that you could require for your campaign. I really want to encourage you to use this platform. It's really, really useful, and it's really accurate with the information that is generated. So if you want to use this content, you just need to click it here, and that's it. Basically, you already have here the image, you have the hashtag, and you have the content that probably you want to use to just publish your post. In the same way, you could use it for Facebook, you could use it for, I mean, for a multiple combination of platforms. So it's something that you want to validate. Additionally, you could create a trial for 30 days. Actually, I created another one for this presentation. You could test it, you could use it, and after that, you could integrate that functionality with Dynamics Journey. That basically is the former name, the marketing platform. So it's something that I really want to invite you, or you want to encourage you to use it, to try it. You could include, for example, the logo of your company here in brand. You could include the logo of your company, and you can request typeface to generate images, including your logo. So if you want to generate a truck, or if you want to generate a car or anything, you could ask him to generate the image, including your brand, your logo. So it's really cool, and I really want to suggest you to try it. Okay, that's the second scenario today. The third one is going to be how to use it in Outlook. Outlook probably is going to be the platform that we are going to be using with more frequency. I want to generate it. Let's say that I want to generate here an email, and I want to start using it. For example, here, you could use it to generate any kind of emails. Like for example, if I want to um, generate an email to promote a specific campaign or something like that, you could just generate tests for a marketing campaign to promote organic product in a supermarket, something like that. You could create a draft. Of course, Copilot is going to generate an initial email that you could validate, review, or modify, or not. Let me try it again. Sorry. Mm. And after that, after generating content, it's going to allow you to modify the tribe. Today is not a good day. Up. It's going to generate the content, and after that, you could modify the length of the document. Let's say I generate an email to promote organic product. Maybe it's because I am delayed on the first thing. Yep. Finally, now. Okay. So let's pass to the next scenario because this one doesn't apparently is not working. As soon as generate the document, you just need to click here in this icon, in the icon in the left side, in the right side, here in the adjust draft, and you could modify there the tone, the language, the length of the email, and you could start interacting with that. Okay, the last scenario that I want to show you today is going to be using Word. Okay, using Word to generate any kind of document. For the scenario, we are going to generate a document that is going to include a policy um, of, of, of how to manage organic shelves. So let me open Word. Word is going to have here, as soon as you enter to Word, you just need to click or press or click the icon or press this combination of keys, and you could start asking Copilot to generate a specific word. So like for example here, I'm going to generate a document with the supply policy for organic shelf. I'm going to click on generate, and Copilot is going to basically generate a document with all the explanation regarding that specific topic. You could ask Copilot to add additional paragraph, do a summary, include images, and wherever you want it. Actually, you could generate a document just after generate, yeah, save the document, and after that, ask Copilot to generate a PowerPoint based on that document. So all those are the combinations that you can interact with Copilot. For example, here generating a supply policy for organic shelves. If you don't like any specific redaction, you could just modify by yourself, and after that, you could just select and rewrite with Copilot, and it's going to validate the test that you are included, and it's going to modify the test and include additional information. If you want to include, for example, a summary or include a paragraph, you just need to click here on Copilot, and it's going to generate an additional paragraph. Um, just in a couple of seconds. So this is an additional functionality that is pretty useful as well, and it's going to help you a lot. Um, if you want to know a little bit more about what are the possibilities in terms of prompts that are available with Copilot, you could come here to this Copilot prompts. Here you could explore by products and you could see what is available per platform. So you want to see what are the prompts that are available in Teams, what are the prompts that are available in Excel or whatever. You could just came here in this website and it's going to show you all the prompts that are available. If the prompts that are available are not enough because you consider that you want to something more specific, always is going to be available Copilot Studio. That is the functionality that allows you to create your own prompts. So basically, I really want to encourage you to use Copilot because it's really powerful. Not just use it for Word or Excel, just interact or start combining the functionality and start getting additional information from your data. Those are the scenarios that I wanted to show you today. I'm going to pass now to Hector to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Jorge, can you see my
Yes.
PowerPoint?
Yes.
Perfect.
But
So
it's not in presentation mode. Now it's in presentation mode. That's
yes.
good.
So 64 employees don't have enough energy to do their jobs. This is a study by World Trend Index. 57% of employees' time is spent communicating in meetings, emails, and chat. 43% of employees' time is spent creating document spreadsheets presentation. Obviously, this applies more for uh, this. This applies more, and I had my camera off. Sorry. This applies more for office workers and possibly your store managers, your marketing department, your human resources department, your purchasing department. Now with Copilot Studio, which is a fancy word for to say a tool set where one can create Copilot commands or prompts, also with different systems. So, Microsoft is and has opened this up to other point of sale, ERP systems, etc. Uh, I don't think they've opened that up to Google Docs, but at least on the ERP basis, they definitely have. So that's where I see that playing in for these are U.S. let's say Canadian salaries or compensations in most U.S. states, not all of them. The Caribbean, outside of Bermuda, Cayman, uh, it's half or less than half of this. Latin America, a quarter of this. So you all know this is not one size fits all. Different geos here. Something else is if you don't have an employee, you can't hire adequate labor. It doesn't matter the salary level, right? The more you can automate, the least you depend on that. In the Caribbean, we tend to have labor shortages, and these contract and expand primarily during the tourist season. So, uh, being able to automate things when things are slow in tourism affecting a Caribbean. I know we have a lot of people here from the Caribbean and Florida. This also applies to California. So, tourism heavy economies. And then when things get tight because it's season, then you have to find workers or workers that don't fit a profile is all you can find. Being able to automate helps in that equation. I like to use a personal example. Uh, I'm not gonna say where I'm at in the salary scale and where our uh, finance manager is, but to we had an employee issue with a time report. We couldn't locate the policy on using Uber, where it's available primarily in the US. And we had to rewrite that. We used Copilot, rewrote it. She and I checked it. It took us 7 minutes. It took us less time to rewrite a better policy for expensing transportation than it was to locate another one. I use a lot the feature of summarize emails at the top. Easily that shaves off 5 to 10 minutes of my day. I receive a lot of volume of emails. The quality of emails after I write something, now I can write it quickly. And then instead of going back and reading over it again and editing it, and then reading over again and editing it when I need to send something a little bit more sensitive to a supplier, a customer, or an employee, I write it once, I put it in Copilot. Copilot writes it better than I could have ever written most of the time. And I just shaved 2 or 3 more minutes just in that one email. So these are little tidbits and examples. But once you start using it and your organization starts using it, that you start recuperating time and productivity. We saw the analytics from Jorge, right? How much time it takes for somebody in an organization to do a a graph or to do a chart. This gets done in less than a minute. It gets faster, and with machine learning and Microsoft improvements of the prompts and LS Retail, it definitely keeps on getting better and faster. But I'm really amazed to where we are right now. I'm able to analyze data in a table format, and instead of spending time sitting down, I just like Jorge did, you know, uh, you know, I just have it Copilot analyze it for me, and then I just concentrate on the data it gave me, and then I go back to the data and I get additional insights. So we talked all about these areas of improving workflows.